Now I'm no longer pregnant, so it's remembering past tense for me, and my memory is not one of my strongest points. I fell pregnant at the age of 20. The date was Tuesday the 4th of March 2014. I found out that I was pregnant when I was 6 weeks, and it was 3 days after my surprise 21st birthday. My first scan was at 9 weeks, and they kindly let me come home with a copy, which they wasn't supposed to, so we had to keep it on the hush. The first scan, I saw baby's feet kicking. Baby's hand was up, so I'm not sure if baby was waving or not, but I'm gonna take it as baby was waving at mummy. Bearing in mind that this is mostly water, but look at the little pea. Like, it's so tiny. Let's never speak of that. This photo was at 9 weeks pregnant, and as you can see, I'm starting to come out more at the top. This is my 12th week scan, and baby was definitely waving on this one because the hand was moving. Also on this scan, baby looked right at mummy, and it's like baby just knew that we was watching. I look like I have so much attitude in that last clip. After my 12th week scan, as you can see, I started to take a lot of selfies with the copies of the ultrasound that I received. Yeah, lovely long hair, Casely. Loving the flowery dress too. About the pregnancy, well, morning sickness to start with was awful. I would always like that, make that noise. And it was horrible. It was like I was going to be sick. I needed to be sick. I wanted to be sick, but I was never actually sick throughout the whole of my pregnancy. From 9 weeks to 23 weeks, I was always hungry and always tired. Now, before I became pregnant, I didn't nap in the day, never been able to. And after being pregnant, I have not napped in the day. I just cannot do it. But yes, during my pregnancy up to 23 weeks, I was tired constantly. I would go to work. I would literally I remember once I was nearly falling asleep on a resident because I was a carer. That sounds quite bad. I don't think I ever told anybody that either. Let's keep that between us. I worked 7 until 2:30, and as soon as I got home I would eat something and then go straight to sleep, and I wouldn't wake up until the following morning when I was back at work. I had cucumber every day. This is my 20-week scan. Baby looked very comfy in mummy's tummy, and baby's lips was moving too, like this. It was really sweet. Baby waved on this scan too, as you can see the hands on the ultrasound. So that was lovely. Now most people find out the sex of their baby, but I didn't. I kept it as a surprise. This is 23 weeks, and you can see that I'm starting to shape out a lot more now. And 25 weeks. They look practically the same, but I just had to post it. This was baby's cot, and I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. I miss it actually. I really miss it. I should have kept it for if I had any more children in the future, but unfortunately it was just taking up space, else I would have kept it. It's really nice because me and my best friend was pregnant at the same time. I was also pregnant at the same time as my older sister, which was lovely because we could relate to things, we could go shopping together for our babies. It was great. Throughout the second trimester of being pregnant, I wasn't as tired anymore or hungry, but I still had a cucumber sandwich every day. Now baby was a little awkward for me because I didn't hear baby's heartbeat until I was 32 weeks pregnant, and it was my sister, who was also pregnant, that found the heartbeat. My midwife couldn't ever find the heartbeat, neither could I because I had my own monitor at home. This was also the stage I was starting to struggle fitting into my own clothes, which is why I invested in this maternity top. There was 3 outfits that I wore more than any others, which obviously this was one of them. This is another. I really liked this one because it was comfy and it kept me really warm. And then this dress was the other one that I used to wear. They are the ones that stretch the most and I felt comfortable in. Here's a fun one. Well, I was pregnant over Halloween, so this was what I was for Halloween. I made this shirt myself. I ripped up a doll. I poked one of the eyes out and I put blood over the face, and I attached the arms and the feet and obviously the head inside the shirt and then poked it through holes. But what I did, I kept the battery attached to the head, so when I knocked on somebody's door I could press the button and baby would cry. Unsure whether baby liked the idea or not because baby kept on kicking. My bump at 34 weeks. I had everybody telling me that I didn't look pregnant from behind. I never actually had a photo taken from behind, so I don't actually know myself if I did or not because I never checked it out. Some people have an idea of what they're going to have and I didn't at all. Obviously people that knew that I was pregnant would have a guess if I'm having a boy or a girl. Excuse me, sorry. Which I find really amusing because the people that are really close to me and know me very well all thought that I was going to have a boy. And the people that didn't know me very well, they all thought that I was going to have a girl. During my last few weeks of pregnancy, I spent a lot of time with my dad, my stepmom and my younger sister. And it's my stepmom that kindly took these photos of me. This one is my favourite. Thank you, Emma. Coming to an end now. This was the day before my due date, which was December the 2nd, 2014. My little sister and my little brother. Here we are on my due date. This was December the 3rd, 2014. Now, baby didn't want to budge this day. I got nothing from baby, not a peep at all. I believe they're myths, but on my due date, because there was no sign of baby arriving, I did 20 jumping jacks. I ordered the spiciest pizza from Domino's. I had a really hot bath. I ran up and down the stairs 30 times. I ate a lot of blackjack and I went for a really long walk. Well, the next morning I was up at 4:32 a.m. obviously. So I woke up and I went to the toilet. I was in a little bit of pain. I laid back into bed. I thought nothing of it. I rang my sister at 7:20. I asked her what contractions feels like. Then I explained to her how I was feeling and what was happening. Then that's when she told me that she thinks that I am having contractions. So at 9:30, after she had taken her children to school, she came round. She kindly put a French plait in my hair because I didn't want it going in my face while I was, you know, giving birth. Me, my mum and my oldest sister spent the whole day together in town. My mum kindly let me stay in my pyjamas all day because she knew that I was in labour, so thank you for that, Mum. At about 11:30 we went to a cafe and we had a bite to eat. Well, I didn't actually eat. I couldn't physically eat anything. The waitress walked over and she had 2 children of her own. She said to me, "You're having a contraction right now, aren't you?" I had my fists like this on the table and I just looked at her and I was like, yeah. It was pretty funny. But yes, I got my lunch on the house, which basically means that I got it free. I didn't have to pay for my lunch. Yeah, so I took that with me. Then we went to Cashgen. I went there to buy a camera so I could take pictures of baby when the baby was born. When we got to the till, my mum said to the guy behind the counter, she's in labour, so we're buying this to take pictures of the baby when it arrives. And the guy behind the counter said, he congratulated me and said good luck, which was really nice of him, so thank you, can't remember your name. It was really nice as well because he gave me a free pack of batteries to go into the camera, so that was really good. I got a couple of things free that day. Yay! After I brought the camera, it was about 12:10 and I said to my mum that I'd like to go to hospital just to see how far dilated I am. So we got in the car, we went to the hospital, and then the nurse said to me, wait in the waiting room. So we waited in the waiting room. We was in there for about 20 minutes. And my mum was moaning because she hates waiting around for anybody. So yeah, I remember her saying to me, "Oh, we're going to be sent home because she's not even going to be that far dilated. I bet we'll have to come back tomorrow." And I sat there and I looked at her and I was like, "Mum, shut up." About 20 minutes later, the nurse came back in the room and she took us to one of the birthing rooms. There was a hand-knitted blue, green and yellow hat. My sister looked at it and she said, "Oh, Kaysley, you might be having a little boy." And I smiled and I kept the hat because I thought, well, that would be good if it's a boy, or you know, it's more like a neutral colour as well, so you could put it on a girl. So I kept the hat, and it went with my handmade blanket that my sister made me. So it was a really good combination actually. So I kept the hat, and then 10 minutes later the nurse came back into that room with us. I mentioned to her that I really wanted a water birth. So she went to check if it was free, and luckily it was. So me, my mum and my sister then went into the birthing room where the pool was. We began playing hangman on a little whiteboard that I brought from Poundland earlier that day. About 1 o'clock the nurse came back into the room and she examined me. As soon as she had finished, she looked at me and she said, "Okay, Kaysley, you are not going home." I remember laying there and I thought, oh God, what's wrong? But nothing was wrong, luckily. It's just that I was too far dilated to go home. So when that was confirmed, that I was basically going to give birth any time, I then began to keep active. I was doing star jumps and dancing with my mum. I had the Vamp CD on repeat. At 4:20, the contractions was getting really bad. I was struggling to move. It was very uncomfortable and my body just went really tight every time I had a contraction. So when the nurse came back in, she started to run the bath for me, and then I took my pyjamas off and I put my bikini on. Obviously I didn't have my bottoms on. Then I got into the pool and she kept on topping up the water so it was always nice and warm, and I think that really did help me. When I was in the pool I kept on falling asleep. I remember my mum had a towel underneath my head. She had to keep me out of the water because I kept going under as I was falling asleep. The midwife was talking to me, telling me what I need to do because I never went to antenatal classes. She was explaining to me how to breathe, when to push and everything that I would have needed to know. But I could hear her talking, I just didn't take it in because I could not stay awake. I couldn't stay awake, I really couldn't. So yeah, my mum had to keep my head out of the water. At 5:15, I started pushing. I said to the midwife, I said, "Look, my body is pushing, I can't not push." And she turned around and said to me, "You're not ready yet, you don't push, try and relax and resist it, just breathe through it." And I said to her, "Look, no, listen to me, I am pushing, I cannot not push because your body will tell you when you're ready." So anyway, she got a mirror and she put it in the water and she had a look and she said, "I do apologise, Kaysley, I can see the head." And then she kept on telling me to push. While I was pushing, there was my sister in the room recording. There was my mum holding my head out of the water. There was the midwife and a student nurse as well. So there was 4 people in the room to start with. And then probably about 10 minutes after I was, I'd started to push, the midwife asked for my permission for 2 other nurses to come in. And to be honest, I was just too interested in getting the baby out, and I was too concentrating on the contraction, so I just said yes. So in the end, there was like 6 people in the room watching me give birth. I had no pain relief whatsoever. The nurses was all amazed actually. I remember them saying, "Wow, this is like the best birth I have seen." And I was just there on my front, just giving birth, like I could hear everybody talking and I was just too concentrating on having my contractions. It was really weird. Anyway, so it came to pushing the head out and it burned a little, I'm not gonna lie, it did burn. And then the head was out. Then everybody was saying to me, "Push, Kaysley, push, push, Kaysley, push." It was one more push I think I needed to do, so I did one more push and baby did like a flip out of me. One of the nurses asked the sex and my midwife said, "Kaysley doesn't know, she wants to find out when the baby's born." When baby was out, I got really emotional and I remember saying, "My baby!" And then I picked the baby up and then I didn't even look at the sex. I didn't. I was just looking at baby's face, and I was amazed. It was the most beautiful thing ever, like the whole experience. And then the midwife said to me, "Oh, do we know the sex? What's the sex? Is she a girl or a boy?" And then I looked over and I saw a little mini moo, and I said, "She's a girl." And I cried a little. I've got a little surprise. I am going to put the video at the end of this video. Never thought I would have my bum on social media, but I'm going to, because when I'm old and wrinkly, my bum is not going to look half as good as it does in the video. It's not. So I'm going to show you, and I'm going to be proud of my bum, and I am going to own it. So I suggest you stop watching now if you do not want to see my bum.
Okay, darling. Baby's coming.
Just widen your knees, darling.
Just keep your knees open a little bit more, Paisley. That's it. Nice and wide, darling. That's it. Well done. Well done, Paisley. Your baby is coming out. Okay.
Really well.
Baby, look, he's trying to swim. Look at that. Look.
She. Do we know?
No, Paisley wants to find out.
Give us a push.
Push, Paisley.
Push. Still coming, Paisley.
Push, sweetheart.
Push. Don't breathe. Push. Push like you're having a poo.
Push.
Yeah, you're going to have a poo.
That's it. Well done. Right. Kneel up and reach down, sweetheart. Here's your baby.